Yeah, it's Brad. So, signs are interesting. I mean, the word has a ton of meanings in pretty much any language I know of. Just English, obviously, is like signpost, mark locations. There's symbols like to condense information, or kind of requisite for the other kind. But like my mom's an interpreter for the deaf. She signs all the time, signs in her sleep. And then there's miracles, magic, flourishes. The spectrum of supernatural details to like the sparkle from any given anime show, or the glow of a halo in medieval imagery. All these things, just layers of information to connote and imply, and sometimes outright spell out not necessarily deeper or hidden, but just additional information. Say I wanted to write my address in a way that was more concise. Shortening things makes sense. You end up with like Ave for Avenue, stuff like that. And abbreviations usually firstly come with some sort of a sign, some sort of a symbol, like a period at the end of a DR, to identify this is not just some strange name in the middle. It's title. But then back to the concept of encoding understanding through requisite understanding. Imagine like a alternate reality game, ARG. They were kind of a flash mob style, flash in the pan of hidden, not even hidden, but a game that kind of pretends to be reality. There's augmented reality that's like Pokemon Go and stuff like that, where it just adds a layer on top. And now people are using that sort of technology to embed additional information in things that then those apps can display for you, like video, interactive, sometimes interactive, but animated monuments or things like that, in places where they were, whatever historical figures were denied placement, recognition. In the context of signs still mundane but clairvoyant, stuff as simple as meteorology. These weather patterns and things, and by observing those, observing signs and what they're correlated to, and eventually understanding the by inferring, extrapolating all the causes and dynamics behind it. To the extent that that's correct and your data is complete, then your forecast will be accurate. In the case of standard real world meteorology, there's a whole lot more data than we generally have, and so you get a lot of variability. but that's par for the course. But so say there was an ARG where you have hidden layers of information, and upon discovering that, the player would look for additional resources to understand it. Well, if you can take any sort of acceptance of a serendipity, whether that's God, I always like to say the serendipity is God making puns. It's a theistic perspective, but not inaccurate on any level. So if you can allow, as a given for context of evaluation, if nothing else, the existence of serendipity as being, RNG that is only pseudo-random. It's, God loading the dice for you to roll. And that would enable, a modicum of communication, as per, all historic prophets, shamans, kind of blending the line between that and the scientific, meteorology style. If you go with like encoding additional layers of information by reusing previous data, then first of all, that kind of blurs the lines on the meaning of different things when you can go back and add or extrapolate or imply or even explore previous concepts that had already been closed cases. But to honestly evaluate something, to authentically evaluate it, it implies, at least for the purposes of context, assumption of whatever givens. Just to be able to have communication. Like, one of the hardest things to wrap your head around, if you're a Christian, would be to think of, well, what if somebody had proof that Jesus was a liar? And I mean, it's for me and every Christian I know, it would be like, well, that's okay, show me. I mean, what is it? That's funny. But then to actually consider the concept, that would require, okay, well, what if they not only said they had proof, but they actually showed you and it was actually valid? Well, obviously, most people would be, have some sort of a crisis, a meltdown. But really, the proper perspective on that sort of a fundamental upheaval of your beliefs should be curiosity. Because if your belief system has served you well up till now, there must not be, complete waste. It has to be some sort of a value there. So then the potential for there to be something that was underserving you before, that should be exciting. That should help you identify the flaw in the previous dynamic and narrow it down. And when you can eliminate that, then whatever the beneficial metric is goes through the roof. It's productivity or energy or inspiration, adventure. Really, I mean, adventure, advent, it's happening, something happening. Things happen all the time. It's just in whether you want to ascribe meaning to it or even take it to mean something, not even necessarily semantically, but take that as an implication of something, or as that being implying something else. Like, I just tonight saw a shooting star for the first time, and it was clear, like straight across the sky. I watched it tip to tail, and it's pretty cool. Like you could actually see it kind of burning away, almost a particle effect. So that was really cool, and you could ascribe some sort of a supernatural or spiritual meaning to it. You could look at it as purely mundane and astrological. Either way, it's really cool to see.